everybody. Have a seat, have a seat. Have a seat. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I am just thrilled to be able to join you and have a little conversation in the backyard. And I want to obviously start by thanking the Fosses for their extraordinary hospitality. Give them a big round of applause. Not only Cindy and Eric, but also Anna and Elsa, although they said that since they get out of school today, it's okay. They thought that was a pretty good deal. They did not mind. In addition, I want to make sure that everybody has had a chance to meet your outstanding senator, Patty Murry, who's here. And I want to see if there are any other elected officials that I've got to introduce. We do have Jim McDermott, who's doing an outstanding job in the House of Representatives. The outstanding mayor of Seattle, Mike McGinn, is here. And one of my favorite governors in the country, Christine Gregoire, is here. So we really try to organize these as conversations as opposed to me making a speech. I'll be making a big speech later, and so if you guys want to tune in or anybody wants to come on over, you can check it out. But this is as much an opportunity for me to hear from you as it is a chance for me to speak. But I just want to say a few things up top. My economic advisors actually put out a report today, and they put out a lot of pieces of paper, but this one we thought was really interesting because it had to do with reflections on what's happening to women in the economy. And obviously the economy is something that's on everybody's minds right now. It's something that we've been struggling with for the last 2 years, since I was first sworn into office. We had a financial crisis that was unprecedented, the worst financial crisis we had seen since the Great Depression. It caused a massive recession. In the 6 months before I was sworn in, we lost 4 million jobs. We lost 750,000 the month I was sworn in, 600,000 the month after that, 600,000 the month after that. So we lost almost 8 million jobs before any of the economic policies we put into place were able to take effect. And so we've got a big hole that we're digging ourselves out of. And obviously, everybody here, in one way or another, has either seen the impact of it or seen the impact on one of your family members or your friends, your community. Now, it turns out that men have gotten really hard hit during this recession. They've actually lost jobs a little bit faster than women have, particularly in the construction industry, because so many of them were involved in the construction trades, and when the housing bubble burst, that really had a significant impact. But what's interesting is that the economy has changed where women have made such enormous strides that they now constitute fully half of the workforce. They actually constitute probably more than half of the money that's coming into middle-class families. And small business owners are now a much higher proportion women than they used to be. And so when you talk about what's happened in the middle class, part of what you're talking about is what's happening to women in the workforce. We've made enormous strides since the 1960s. When my grandmother was a secretary at a bank and wasn't expected to go to college and had to work her way up until she finally became the vice president of a bank, but still hit a glass ceiling and could never quite go as far as her talents could take her. That's not as true as it used to be, but what is still true is we still have a significant gender gap when it comes to wages. Women, because they're running more and more small businesses, are now having a tougher time getting financing and loans than male-owned businesses are. And I think women, because, at least in my household, tend to have a better sense of the family budget, they're mindful of how tough not just this recession has been, but the last decade has been on middle-class families. Turns out that from 2001 to 2009, the average middle-class family lost 5% of their income. Their wages actually went down during that period. Between 2001 and 2009, job growth was actually more sluggish than at any time since World War II, even more sluggish than it's been over the past year. And so, as I travel around the country and I talk to families, what they're concerned about is not just the immediate recovery from the recession, but also what does the future hold in terms of middle-class families being able to grow, being able to afford health care, being able to pay the bills, being able to send their kids to college. Those are the challenges that I think we're going to have to continue to confront. And we can't confront those unless we understand that our economy works only when everybody's participating. And that means that things like equal pay for equal work aren't just women's issues, those are middle-class family issues. Because, how well women do will help determine how well our families are doing as a whole. It means that everybody's got to have access to financing for small businesses. One of the things we're very proud of over the last couple of years, with the help of people like Patty and Jim, is that we've massively expanded lending to small businesses so that they can help create the kind of opportunities not only for themselves but also for their workers that ends up being the driver of our economy. It means that we've got to make sure that our girls are getting as good of an education as our boys, particularly in math and science, where traditionally they've lagged. And as the father of two daughters, this is something that I spend a lot of time thinking about. And so with, again, the help of Patty and Jim and others, we've been able to shift billions of dollars that were going in unwarranted subsidies to banks and now put them directly into the student loan programs, into Pell Grants, so that more and more people are able to get the kind of higher level training that they need to compete in this new global economy. So here's the bottom line. Where the economy was shrinking by 6% when I took office, the economy is now growing again. Where we were losing 750,000 jobs a month, we've now seen 9 consecutive months of private sector job growth. So we've made progress and we're moving in the right direction, but we've still got a lot of work to do. And what I want to hear from you about is how you think we can be even more effective in helping you meet the challenges that your families face or your businesses face. We want to partner with the state. We want to partner with cities to figure out how are we fostering economic development that pulls everybody in. Because the one thing I'm absolutely certain about, and this is one of the reasons I ran for president in the first place, is that America succeeds best when everybody's got a shot, not just when a few are doing well. The beating heart of our economy has always been a growing and expanding middle class where families are able to see a vision about where they might take their lives and pursue it. And if they work and they put effort into it, then they can succeed. If that happens for everybody, then we all succeed. And unfortunately, over the last decade, that wasn't what was happening. And it's going to take us some time to turn it around. But I'm confident that we're now moving in the right direction. But we've still got more work to do, which is part of the reason why this election coming up is so important. But as I said, what I'm really interested in is hearing from you. What are the day-to-day concerns and challenges and roadblocks that you see for your success? Because that'll help shape how we move our agenda forward over the next couple of years. Now, what I want to do, if you don't mind, is I'm going to start with a couple of small business owners who are here, because I think they're indicative of the positive changes that have taken place in the economy. These are women-owned businesses that are doing outstanding work and hiring a lot of people here in the local economy. And then we're just going to open it up and people can ask questions, give me comments, give me suggestions. So what I want to do is start with Christina Lomansey, who is the owner of Monumental. And she's also a physicist, so I think this is very cool. So Christina, tell me a little bit about your business, and then tell me sort of how you think government can be helpful in seeing Monumental grow even faster.
Thank you, Mr. President. as you said, I'm Christina Lemastny. I'm the president of Modumetal, which is a company that's dealing in advanced metals manufacturing in Seattle. I started the company with my co-founder, John Whitaker, in 2007 as an outgrowth of an environmental restoration company called Icetron that I started in 2001. Modumetal has been growing through these challenging economic times from our original team of 3 people, and we attribute that growth to the clarity of our vision for the future, as well as a committed group of stakeholders that have engaged with us, and a new manufacturing technology that all the team at Modumetal believe is going to change the world. Last year, Modumetal received a grant from the United States Department of Energy that was made possible by the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. And that grant made it possible for us to conduct some important business development activity, or rather product development activities inside of the company. Today, Modumetal employs 25 people, including interns from the university, and we are actively hiring as a result of a collaboration that we recently announced with a major steel company in the United States. I hope to grow the company by about 15% over the coming months, and I'm very optimistic about what the future holds for us.
That's great. Congratulations. Now let me just on the grant that you received. One of the things that is really important for our economy long term is making sure we're investing in research and development. And the Recovery Act contained probably the biggest increase in research and development funding that we had seen in a very long time. Just how important is it for you to be able to get that kind of seed money to engage in the new research that you're doing? Because part of what your company is all about is cutting-edge technology, and you can't just keep on doing the same things and expect to be able to compete in the global economy. Is that right?
Absolutely. So seed funding for us is absolutely critical to our ability to build this company. We're starting with, as I mentioned, a new manufacturing technology that we began from scratch from a research concept, and we're building it up now and scaling up in manufacturing. So this investment, this kind of investment, and other kinds of investment that occur in our economy are absolutely critical to a company like Modumetal.
That's great. You know, a lot of times I think we get in these ideological arguments about what government's role is in the economy. Now, none of us think that government alone creates jobs. That's not its task. This economy has always thrived because of the private sector and entrepreneurship and people having an idea and running with it. But what historically has happened is the government has had an important role in sparking, catalyzing new technologies, new research that then the private sector is able to take over, partly because the private sector sometimes isn't willing to invest in really cutting-edge technologies on the front end. They're unproven. They don't want to take the risks. And so whether it's the internet or the barcode or you name it, a lot of that initial impulse has come from government grants and government funding like this. It doesn't mean that the government then ends up creating the products or the technologies themselves, but it does give companies like yours a start in terms of being able to move forward. And so we're very proud of the investments that we made in research and technology, and we're going to have to keep on doing that in the years to come. So now, next we've got Jody Hall, who is the owner of Cupcake Royale. I don't know if she brought